We're going to look at the midbrain in this section. If you see the word thalamus, just think midbrain. Okay, so here's the thalamus. All of this, by the way, is the diencephalon. Also, anything with the word thalamus in it, think diencephalon. So the thalamus itself there, and then here's the hypothalamus, which you'll hit that pretty hard in A&P2 when you get to the endocrine system. And then there's the epithalamus. Okay, the diencephalon or interbrain does sit on top of the brainstem, and its major structures are the thalamus, hypothalamus, and epithalamus. The thalamus is responsible for all incoming and outgoing information to and from the brain. So from body to brain, the information has to go through the thalamus, and from brain to body goes through the thalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus is an autonomic function. So your subconscious nervous system just does this for you. It does a lot with your endocrine system. For example, regulation of body temperature, water balance, metabolism. It's the center for many drives and emotions. It's part of our limbic system. It helps with thirst, appetite, sex, pain, and pleasure centers. There are two particular structures below the hypothalamus. They're both embedded within the pituitary gland. So let's go back right here. There's the pituitary gland connected to the hypothalamus via the infundibulum. There's two parts to the hypothalamus. You have the anterior pituitary because it's located in the front, and the posterior pituitary because it's located in the back. Okay, know the hormones that the posterior and anterior pituitary release. The posterior releases oxytocin and ADH. The anterior pituitary releases growth hormone, and you might want to write these full terms down. Growth hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and thyroid stimulating hormone. Now it releases more than that, but in A&P2 we'll split hairs with the hormones, all of them, what they do, etc. Okay, but just to introduce the endocrine system to you, since we're looking at the brain, we're looking at a part of the brain, the pituitary. Know the two parts, and for right now, just know these hormones that it releases. Okay. Oxytocin has to do with birth. Now it does more than that. There's several things oxytocin does, but for now, our quick version, it helps with birth, more specifically delivery, which means it helps with uterine contraction to help with delivery. Antidiuretic hormone helps with fluid balance. Okay, fluid balance. You either are going to keep water or get rid of water. Okay, ADH helps you with that. So it's fluid balance. Okay, growth hormone, that's the answer's in the word there. It helps you with growth and development, growth and repair, things like that. Follicle stimulating hormone, so in males it will eventually go to testes, and in females eventually to ovaries to help with follicle stimulating and all the mechanisms that go with that. Okay, luteinizing hormone, same thing. In men, it goes to testes, and women goes to ovaries. And then thyroid stimulating hormone, that one virtually goes to all the cells in the body because it's responsible for metabolism. Okay, now more specifically, thyroid stimulating hormone goes to the thyroid, which releases thyroid hormone, which are your T3s and T4s, and that's what goes to the body, and it's responsible for metabolism and some other functions. But TSH is released, thyroid stimulating hormone is released from the anterior pituitary. Okay, the mammillary bodies, these are involved in smell. So these are different parts that are deep within the brain. The fancy word for smell is olfaction. And it lies posterior and inferior to the hypothalamus. The epithalamus, you find the pineal body, which will be responsible for melatonin release, which helps you with sleep. You also find the choroid plexus of the third ventricle. The choroid plexus is what helps produce cerebrospinal fluid. And then the fluid likes to travel through the ventricles and eventually circulates throughout the spine, which we'll get into that later on. And then the epithalamus forms the roof of the third ventricle. Okay, so here's the mammillary body right there. So it lies posterior and inferior to the hypothalamus. And the pineal body is located right there. Part of epithalamus.